Millions of Australians start their day with what they think is coffee, but some of the best-selling coffee products on Woolworths and Coles shelves contain as little as 11% actual coffee. The rest is sugar, vegetable oil, and additives you've never heard of. And I'm about to show you exactly which brands are doing this. I spent weeks digging through ingredient labels, nutrition panels, corporate filings, and independent testing reports. What I found goes beyond bad taste. It's about what you're really paying for when you grab that jar off the shelf. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which products to avoid and which ones actually deserve your money. First, you need to understand how this market really works. Walk into any Coles or Woolworths. You see Moccona, Nescafe, International Roast, and a dozen other brands. Different jars, different prices, different stories on the labels. It looks like choice. Here's the reality. Two giant companies control most of what you see. Nestlé, the Swiss food giant, owns Nescafe, Nescafe Gold, Blend 43, and International Roast. JDE Peet's, a Dutch company worth nearly $18 billion, owns Moccona. They also bought the Australian specialty roaster Campos Coffee back in 2021. That local brand you thought was independent? Check who owns it. Now let's talk about what's actually inside these products. The European Union sets clear benchmark levels for a compound called acrylamide. It forms when coffee beans are roasted at high heat. For instant coffee, the EU says manufacturers should aim to stay below 850 micrograms per kilogram. For regular roasted coffee, the limit is 400. Australia, we have no mandatory limit at all. Food standards. Australia and New Zealand monitors the situation, but they don't require companies to meet any specific number. A 2013 study published in a Polish scientific journal tested 42 coffee samples. Fresh roasted coffee contained about 179 micrograms of acrylamide per kilogram. Instant coffee? Nearly double that at 358. This happens because instant coffee goes through extra heating steps during production. The beans get roasted, then dried again at high temperatures. More heat means more acrylamide forms. Here's where it gets worse. Some products on Australian shelves aren't really coffee at all. I pulled the ingredient list straight from Nescafe's own website. Their standard cappuccino sachet lists glucose syrup first, then comes coffee at just 18%. Their iced cappuccino, sugar is first, coffee drops to 11%. The rest is milk powder, vegetable oil, stabilizers, and flavors. You think you're buying coffee. You're buying sweetened powder with a hint of coffee mixed in. Before we count down the 10 brands, I want to be clear. This video looks at publicly available information like ingredient labels, nutrition panels, and published research. Nothing here should be taken as an accusation against any company. We're examining what's on the label and letting you decide what belongs in your kitchen. Let's start with number 10. Number 10 on our list is the supermarket home brand Budget Instant Coffee. Think Coles Essentials or Woolworths Essentials. These are the cheapest jars on the shelf, sitting around $1.85 per 100 grams. Millions of families grab these every week because the price is right. Here's what surprised me. When Choice Australia ran blind taste tests in 2023, Coles Classic actually scored 80%. That's higher than some premium brands charging 5 times as much. The ingredient list simply says coffee. Nothing hidden there. The real issue, we don't know who actually makes these products. The jars don't tell you which factory produced them or where the beans came from. Contract manufacturers make these for the supermarkets, but their names stay hidden. If you want to research a company's practices, you can't. The trail goes cold. For pure budget shoppers, these aren't bad options. But if knowing the source matters to you, you won't find answers here. Number 9 is International Roast. That red tin has sat in Australian kitchens since the 1970s. It feels like part of the furniture. The label says roasted and blended in Australia. The marketing plays up the local angle. But here's what the tin doesn't shout about. International Roast is owned by Nestlé, the same Swiss company that owns Nescafe. The same company with headquarters in Switzerland, not Sydney. This isn't a secret. It's just not something the packaging wants you to notice. The coffee itself is fine. Canstar Blue named it best rated back in 2019. Plenty of Australians enjoy it. But if you're buying it because you want to support an Australian company, you should know your money flows to a global corporation worth hundreds of billions of dollars. That's not wrong. It's just worth knowing. Number 8 brings us to Australia's best-selling instant coffee, Nescafé Blend 43. This one actually has real Australian roots in its production. Nestlé makes it at their factory in Gympie, Queensland. Local jobs, local manufacturing. The label says 100% sustainably grown Arabica and Robusta beans. The caffeine content runs between 50 and 90 milligrams per serve. Canstar Blue gave it best rated in both 2021 and 2023. Consumers genuinely like it. So why is it on this list? The blend includes Robusta beans. According to European Union guidelines, Robusta beans tend to produce higher acrylamide levels than Arabica beans during roasting. We don't know the exact ratio in Blend 43. Nestlé doesn't share that information publicly. If you prefer 100% Arabica coffee, this isn't it. If you want to minimize potential acrylamide exposure, you might consider other options. But for everyday instant coffee made in Australia, Blend 43 does what it promises. Number 7 is Moccona, the fancy glass jar with the stopper lid. The brand traces back to 1753 through its Dutch parent company. It costs more than Blend 43, usually $8 to $12 for 200 grams. The marketing positions it as premium. The freeze-dried process gets highlighted in every advertisement. Freeze-drying does preserve more flavor than spray drying. That part is true. But here's what premium really means. Moccona is owned by JDE Peet's, the Dutch multinational that pulled in 8.8 billion euros last year. Same company that owns Douwe Egberts. Same company that bought Australia's Campos coffee. The higher price gets you a glass jar and freeze-dried processing. Does it get you better beans? The company doesn't say where exactly the beans come from or what quality grade they use. Premium packaging doesn't automatically mean premium ingredients. It might just mean premium marketing. Number 6 is where things get genuinely concerning. Coffee sachets and mixes. Products like Nescafé Cappuccino and Moccona Cafe Style. These are the ones that really need your attention. I went directly to Nescafé's Australian website and pulled the ingredient list for their standard cappuccino sachet. First ingredient, glucose syrup. Second ingredient, soluble coffee at 18%. Then comes milk solids, vegetable oil, sugar, flavors, stabilizers, emulsifiers, and salt. Read that again. The first thing on the list is glucose syrup. Sugar appears again further down. Coffee makes up less than 1/5 of what's in that sachet. Their iced cappuccino is even more striking. Sugar listed first. Coffee content drops to just 11%. You're paying coffee prices for a product that's mostly sweetened milk powder. The World Health Organization suggests adults limit added sugar to about 25 grams per day. One of these sachets can contain 10 to 15 grams. Drink 2 or 3 and you've already hit your daily limit before breakfast ends. These products aren't hiding anything illegal. The ingredients are right there on the pack. But how many people actually flip that sachet over and read it? How many realize they're drinking dessert, not coffee? If you're checking your pantry right now, drop a comment telling me what you found. And make sure you're subscribed because the next 5 brands have even bigger problems you need to know about. Number 5 is Jarrah Coffee Mixes. The name sounds Australian. The packaging looks familiar in the tea and coffee aisle. Many people know Jarrah from their hot chocolate products. But their coffee range raises the same concerns we just covered with the sachets. These are coffee mixes, not coffee. When you check the ingredient panels on flavored cappuccino and mocha products, you'll typically find sugar or glucose as the primary ingredient. Coffee often makes up somewhere between 10 and 20% of the total product. The rest is milk powder, sweeteners, vegetable oils, and flavoring agents. One sachet can deliver 10 to 15 grams of sugar in a single serve. Have 2 cups before lunch, and you've consumed most of what health experts say you should have in an entire day. None of this is illegal. The ingredients are listed right there on the pack. But here's my concern. These products sit in the coffee aisle. They're marketed as coffee drinks. People buy them thinking they're making a coffee choice. If these were shelved with hot chocolate and dessert beverages, there would be no confusion. The placement creates the problem. Number 4 is Nescafe Gold. This is what I call the premium illusion. The gold packaging signals quality. The price sits about 40% higher than regular blend 43. Everything about the marketing says this is the upgrade you deserve. But what are you actually paying extra for? Both products are instant coffee. Both come from Nestlé. Both use a blend of Arabica and Robusta beans. The specific differences in sourcing or bean quality? Not disclosed publicly. You might be getting a slightly different roast profile. You might be getting nicer packaging. What you're definitely getting is a higher price based on positioning, not necessarily on what's inside the jar. Choice Australia runs blind taste tests where experts sample coffees without knowing which brand is which. Those results would tell us if Gold genuinely tastes better than Blend 43. Without that direct comparison, we're trusting the marketing, and marketing exists to make you pay more. That's its job. Number 3, cover store brand premium lines. Products like Alcafe Gold from Aldi. These carry words like premium or gold in their names. They cost more than the basic home brand options. They look like they're competing with Moccona and Nescafe Gold. Here's what's interesting. Alcafe from Aldi actually won CanStar Blue's Best Rated Award in 2024. Consumers genuinely liked it. Private label products can absolutely compete on quality. The problem is transparency. When you buy Nescafe, you know Nestlé made it. You can research Nestlé's practices, their supply chain, their history. When you buy a store brand, you often can't find out who actually manufactured it. The supermarket contracts with outside companies, but those names rarely appear on the jar. You can't investigate a company you can't identify. For some shoppers, this doesn't matter. The coffee tastes fine and costs less. For others who want to know exactly where their products come from, the information simply isn't available. Number 2 is budget instant coffee with minimal disclosure. I'm not naming one specific brand here because this is a pattern across the cheapest tier of the market. These products share common traits. They sit at the lowest price point. The labels tell you almost nothing. No country of origin for the beans. No information about whether you're drinking Arabica or Robusta or some mix. No mention of how the coffee was processed. No certifications from organizations like Rainforest Alliance or Fairtrade. Just the word coffee on the ingredient list and nothing more. Absence of information isn't proof of problems. But informed choice requires information. When a jar tells you nothing about where the beans grew, how they were stored, or who processed them, you're buying blind. Studies have shown that storage conditions affect whether mold develops on coffee beans. Better transparency would help consumers make decisions that match their values and concerns. Number 1 isn't a single brand. It's an entire category. Products marketed as coffee that contain less than 20% actual coffee. We've already talked about some of these. Flavored sachets where sugar comes first. Cappuccino mixes where coffee is the 4th or 5th ingredient. Mocha products where you're essentially buying hot chocolate with a coffee flavor added. Look at the typical breakdown. Sugar and glucose make up 40 to 50%. Milk powder adds another 20 to 30%. Vegetable oils contribute 5 to 10%. Then come flavors and stabilizers. Coffee sits at the bottom, somewhere between 10 and 20%. You think you're choosing coffee. You're choosing a flavored sugar drink. The price per gram of actual coffee in these products is extremely high. You'd get more coffee for your money buying the cheapest jar of plain instant. What troubles me most isn't that these products exist, it's how they're sold. Coffee aisle, coffee branding, coffee expectations, but not coffee reality. So what should you actually buy? Let's look at the alternatives. If you want actual coffee, good options exist right here in Australian supermarkets. Let me show you what to look for. Victoria Mountain Grown Instant scored 80% in Choice Australia's 2023 blind taste test. It's 100% Arabica beans, freeze-dried for better flavour. Most importantly, Victoria is still Australian family owned. The Cantarella brothers started the company back in 1947. Today, the Shirato family runs it. When you buy Victoria, your money goes to an Australian business, not a European headquarters. The price sits around $12.50 per 100 grams. That's more expensive than budget options, but you know exactly what you're getting. Here's a surprise from the choice testing. Bushel's Classic Gourmet scored highest of all at 83%. The testers called it well-balanced, with a sweet dark chocolate aroma and good body. The price? Just $4.25 per 100 grams. Robert Tim's full-bodied came in at 81% for only $4 per 100 grams. Coles Organic Freeze-Dried scored 79% at $4 per 100 grams and carries organic certification. You don't have to spend premium prices to get quality instant coffee. The blind tests prove that. When you're shopping, look for a few key things. Check for certifications like Rainforest Alliance, Fairtrade, or UTZ. Choice found that 10 of the 18 products they tested carried some form of sustainability certification. Look for the words freeze-dried rather than spray-dried. Freeze-drying generally preserves more of the coffee's original flavor. Check if the label tells you where the beans came from. Transparency matters. If a company won't tell you basic information about their product, ask yourself why. If you're willing to step beyond instant coffee, your options open up dramatically. An AeroPress costs about $40 to $60 as a one-time purchase. A bag of fresh ground coffee runs $15 to $25 for 250 grams. Your cost per cup works out to 30 or 40 cents. That's actually similar to what you'd pay for mid-range instant coffee like Moccona. The difference in taste is enormous. Brewing takes about 2 or 3 minutes, not much longer than waiting for a kettle to boil. Cold brew offers even more convenience. You don't need any special equipment, just a jar. Add coarse ground coffee to cold water and let it sit in your fridge for 12 to 24 hours. Strain it out and you have enough concentrate for a whole week. Your per cup cost drops to around 25 to 35 cents. Grab it from the fridge, add water, and you're drinking better coffee faster than you could make instant. Let me pull together what this investigation revealed. 2 massive foreign companies control most of the instant coffee you see on Australian shelves. Nestlé owns Nescafé, Blend 43, and International Roast. JDE Peet's owns Moccona. Victoria stands out as one of the few major players still owned by an Australian family. Premium pricing often reflects marketing budgets more than ingredient quality. The European Union sets benchmark levels for acrylamide in coffee and requires manufacturers to monitor their products. Australia encourages similar practices but doesn't mandate them. Perhaps most concerning, many products sold in the coffee aisle contain less than 20% actual coffee. The rest is sugar, milk powder, vegetable oils, and additives. These aren't coffee products. They're flavored beverages wearing coffee branding. Before you buy your next jar, do a quick check. Look at the ingredients list. Is coffee the first item? Or does sugar appear before it? If coffee isn't first, you're not buying coffee. Check the percentage if it's listed. Anything under 50% actual coffee is a beverage with coffee flavoring, not a coffee product. Look for origin information. Does the label tell you where the beans came from? Look for certifications that show third-party verification. Check who owns the brand if supporting Australian business matters to you. A quick search will tell you who the parent company really is. This pattern extends beyond coffee. Australian heritage brands across many food categories have been bought by international corporations. The packaging stays the same. The recipes often change. The profits flow overseas. We'll be looking at Australian breakfast cereals next week. What we found about sugar content and health claims on products marketed as wholesome and healthy may change how you shop that aisle too. One final note. This video presents publicly available information for general educational purposes. It's not medical or dietary advice. If any details here are incorrect or outdated, please let me know in the comments and I'll add corrections to the pinned comment. I want to be accurate, and I'm happy to update anything that needs fixing. So what's sitting in your pantry right now? Drop the brand name in the comments. If this investigation changed how you'll shop, share it with someone who needs to see it. Subscribe for next week's breakfast cereal video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you then.